Today I'm talking to Jessica Northrop in Denver, Colorado. She is a top 1% producing broker in her market. Jessica entered her real estate career over 24 years ago. She entered real estate at 18 years old and hustled her way to success. The recession, a divorce, a shift in her habits resulted in a slump in her career. In 2013, she made a decision to relaunch her career and achieve the success she wanted. She went from 6.5 million in sales to over 42 million in sales a year. Today, we talk about how to relaunch your career to new heights. Thanks for listening to the Jere Metcalf podcast, where top real estate agents tell how they do it. This podcast is to share knowledge for realtors and raise awareness for Give Back Homes, where real estate professionals work together for social good. Jet Centers Aviation, Bentley Atlanta, Legends Global, thank you for your sponsorship. All right, it's the Jere Metcalf podcast, where top real estate agents tell how they do it. Today we have Jessica Northrop. So excited to have you, Jessica. She is an agent from Denver, Colorado, a top 1% producer in her market, in the business for 24 years. Since she was for 24 years, that would be like since you were 4. It was actually since she got her license when she was 18, and completely rocking it. She's been obviously starting at 18. She's been through lots of ups and downs and is now a complete rock star and has I love to say, success comes out of failure or success comes out of mistakes. And you've got a lot of that to share with us about how you've really harnessed your career to become this agent where you are today. So that being said, Jessica, thank you and welcome.
Me to be here. It's awesome to meet you.
Well, you've met me. It's good to see you.
On your podcast, superstar.
So, right. We met a couple of times, but anyway, and we're a little bit of kindred spirits. I love it. We should have had you on the show a lot sooner. And Bill Fandel is so excited that you're on the show too, by the way. Everybody knows Bill, Telluride, Compass, top agent, amazing. I think he only has like 300 million in listings.
Yeah, it's no big deal. No big deal.
Whatever.
Whatever, Bill.
Whatever, Bill. We love you. All right. So tell us a little bit about yourself. Go back to at 18 years old. What gave you the idea, or how did you know you wanted to get your license? And did you know when you got your license you did want to be a real estate agent?
Yeah. So
awesome.
That's probably for a different podcast why I went into real estate. But I think at 18, I didn't know what I wanted to do. I didn't know who I wanted to be. And my parents kind of said, well, you have to do something. And I'm like, well, I'm going to get my real estate license. Not really knowing really anything about it. I didn't have anyone in my family who was in real estate. But I got into real estate, got my license, and then I had to go to work kind of right away. There was no like $20 going there for mom and dad, and I got my license, and then I went to work. I remember my first day so well for a top producing agent. So I was their assistant and showed up. They put a little something on my desk like, order the PR. And I was like, what in the heck is the PR? And I walked around the office for like half the day asking people like, where would I find a PR? A property report from a title company. So I have really had to learn the business from the ground up, really from the ground up.
Wow. So 18, you got a job as an assistant to a top producer, and it's been Denver since.
I was actually in Utah for 4 years.
Oh wow. Okay.
I was in Utah and then moved to Denver. And
so when did you move to Denver?
1999.
So that was at, what was that, 22 years old?
22.
So you were 4 years in Utah. Now, were you an assistant for the full 4 years?
I was.
And then you come to, so you were an assistant. I bet you became a really good one after 4 years, and you really figured out the business.
I think really where I really started to I was baptism by fire is when I came to Denver. I opened up a newspaper because that's what we did. And I said, who am I going to go work for? The best agent. And there was a guy who was selling 365 homes a year. And I said, I'm going to work for him. So I called him up and I went for an interview. And he said he hired me to be his listing agent at 22, 23 years old. He sat in the office and had all these leads coming in. And then I would go out into Denver from every part of the city, driving around and go on listing appointments for him. Get the listing appointment, have them sign it, and a buyer agency, and then leave, and then never see them again. So there's like, I sold like 50 homes in, I would say, 3 months.
So you went on, so just curious, when you did these listing appointments, was it like, this is how we do it, this is what you talk about, or what? How would that go down?
Yeah, I had a little flip chart, a little flip book, and I would go through it, and I would say, so-and-so is the best agent, and this is the reason why, this is the reason why. And that may sound very antiquated at this time, but that was the training, sitting at people's, walking their homes, sitting down at 23 years old and presenting a full presentation, learning about homes. It was really, that's how I really learned very quickly.
But at that time, obviously you learned quickly, but that, to me, I'm like, I can't imagine sending a 23-year-old. No, but you were a sharp 23-year-old, and you had been an assistant and figured out what a PR was in a day. I'm kidding.
Right.
I didn't know what a PR was, like press release, right? Like I didn't know PR was. I didn't know PR was like whatever. I already forgot a property report. We don't have those here. We call them CRMs, or no, we call them CMAs. I don't even know what they're called. I promise I'm a good agent. I promise. Anyway, so you're going on listing appointments for this guy. He's doing all his marketing. He's got you going and doing the listing appointments. But all you would do is you were the business winner. You're winning business. So you got like how many? So you won 50 listings. How many listings did you win, and how many appointments did you go on, or do you remember?
I know that I closed 50 in 3 months because I was also, here's the kicker, I was also pregnant with my first daughter, at that age. I was 23, going on all the appointments. And after I had her, I knew that it was that many because it was this really, a lot in a short amount of time. Wow. So I did that a year. And then at, 23, 24 is when I really went out on just my own, doing it just for myself. Yeah.
Wow. So 50 listings in how many months again? 3 months.
Yeah.
And then that's amazing at 20-something years old. I mean, I still want to know how the guy negotiated all those, because you stopped his signature and just went to the next.
Yeah.
So anyway, you took that, did that for 3 months, had your baby. What changed? Did you stay with him for a long time, or what next? This is interesting. I've never heard anybody with this story. Everybody's stories are kind of similar, but this is not.
It's an interesting one. I was with him for about a year.
Okay.
And then after I had my daughter, I was like, well, I'm going to move to an office a little bit closer to where I lived, and I'm just going to go into it for myself. And so from that, which was 2000, I had my daughter in 1999. Yes. 2000 on, that's kind of build the business for myself, which I did. 2008, very busy. Did a lot of seminars, coaching. I had to be a student of the industry, and I would find a deal wherever I could find a deal, because I was, I had to contribute to the household. It wasn't just a hobby or for fun. Right. It was to pay the bills. So I was really intentional about, coaching and seminars and trying to learn the business and getting deals.
So your production now, you're at over 40 million a year. Back in those days, that was you were what, 24 years old?
When I was 24.
Yeah, that would be 24. 24 to, because that's when I was 24. We're the same age. Now I'm giving it all away.
Well, I would do 24. I think the highest I got was maybe like 36, 34 transactions.
That's huge.
They were small. They were little small guys.
That's even harder. I mean, that's even bigger, because that's like you're getting so much experience that most agents never get or have, especially for that age. That's huge.
Right.
So that was age 24, year 2000 to what year?
Oh my gosh, these are so many years all pulled together. 10 years ago, maybe. 2008.
Okay.
Then in 2008, it wasn't the best really of times. The economy wasn't great. I went through a divorce. So really professionally and personally, things were not great at that time. Mm-hmm. And I think I got a little bit down about, I've always been a student. I've always tried so hard. I've always been a doer. in all these areas, and now they're all kind of falling.
Like your life was, well, you were working hard, but things always worked out. You always did the right thing, and that was the world that you knew, and you weren't a person who didn't succeed.
Right.
And then all of a sudden you're getting divorced, and we're in a recession. That really hit you. We're in a recession. You're getting divorced. We hit a recession. You've always been a successful agent. We all felt like a loser in 2008. So at least it's like you ripped off the Band-Aid because you got the divorce and you screwed around. Like you screwed around like with your life and didn't do your normal great habits. But at least we had the recession.
Right. We had
So
recession.
you pile that all up into one thing. Got it all done with.
Well, and I tell you, that time I disengaged. I still had to sell real estate, but I got away from the notes, the calls, the mailing. I got really good at tennis. Like I said, I got really good at tennis.
You know what? I've never gotten good at tennis, and I've tried really hard, and maybe that's why. You're making me feel better about being such a bad tennis player.
Yeah. And so that was really 2008 to say 2010. And 2010, worst year financially for me or from a business standpoint, best year personally. I met my husband and got remarried. So that was a great year personally, but not so good from a financial standpoint for me individually.
Yeah.
So in 2011, I had my third son, my third child. I have a middle one. We always forget about the middle one. He was 2004. But I had another son in 2011, and then really I was like, well, I'm still doing deals. I'm doing, some of the pressure was off because my husband, had a job and did pretty well, but some of that pressure was off. But I still had clients who called me, and I said, well, maybe I should try and re-engage and do a little business here and there. So I re-engaged, and I think once you know how to do the business or you've had a previous experience of what to do, you just start doing those things again naturally. And the business started to build. So I'd say like 2012, 2013 is when I put my system back into place, and it kind of started to build from there.
Wow, that's awesome. So in 2012, 13, what was your production?
2013 was $6.5 million.
And now we're 42 plus million.
Yeah, 42 million left.
Which is pretty huge. Yeah. So the difference was 2000, was it 13 or 12? Which year?
Yep. 2013 is when I really started to kind of re-engage.
So 2013, it's been, I think a great message for everybody here is like, you can do great and you can, make mistakes or lose traction or whatever and refocus and really make something of that. What do you attribute to, what made you in 2013? Was there stick that broke the camel's back or any momentous thing that just made you go, okay, this is it. I'm going to go refocus and get back in gear? Or what was the shift or what happened?
Anything like I had to go do it or anything of that nature. I wanted to. It's kind of what I knew. So getting back into it, I think the shift came from what my previous, beginning of my career to where I am now is really changing from doing things I maybe didn't want to do, but I thought that's what you had to do, or you follow this certain system, to doing business the way I feel that I'm talented or the things that I am good at. And then pairing that with giving back. So I, really enjoy giving back, being part of our community. And I think providing value and service, that's been the focus. And then building the business model around service and bringing value.
So that's what made you successful. You found your passion, you got focused, but what shifted your mindset? Like you were in this mindset of like, I'm going to play tennis.
Oh, that's a great question. I know the answer to that.
Okay.
My previous beginning of my career, I operated from complete scarcity. It was about, where am I going to get the next deal? I need to have that deal. I need the deal. Where am I going to get the deal? This deal has to close. I think moving into this second phase is about abundance and having abundance, operating from abundance. I think your clients can sense it. Your colleagues can sense it. That's the energy that you're putting out into the universe. So that I really do try to operate from abundance and gratitude every single day.
Abundance and gratitude. What do you think happened in your life? Obviously, you had a sense of security from having a husband and being happy, but is there anything else that that because there's plenty of people that have like a wealth of abundance and materials and money, but are not in a mindset of abundance.
Right.
So I'm not going to let you cop out on that. What do you think it was? And if you think it was your life, not mine, but really, what was it that opened your eyes to shift, or did you even know it was happening?
I maybe didn't know it was happening. What I will tell you is it was a very, very disappointing, and it was very, very hard when my career did go down, when my personal life did go down. I felt I'd worked so hard for that. So it could be the gratitude. I think it was probably gratitude. I felt very, very grateful for the things that had come back into my life, for the new opportunities that I'd been given. And I think a lot of people that came into my life during that time, even my current mentor today, had, bringing things in like the give back homes or like the giving back and being more focused on that, just was kind of a snowball effect of living the abundant lifestyle.
But here's something interesting, because some people would say, well, if you had gratitude, it's because you were grateful for what you had because you didn't have it. So, and I'm not saying you weren't, I'm saying you actually were, but it's, gratitude doesn't mean like, oh, I'm so glad I have it because I think I wouldn't have it. It's, I'm so glad I have it. And it's literally like elevating your state of mind of being happy and seeing what you have, because what you focus on gets bigger. And you focused on what you had through gratitude, which made what you had get bigger. Do you think it was, and this might go back to the husband, like we were kidding about who to blame for what goes wrong, or how about who to blame for what goes right? Or I've been quoting Tony Robbins a lot lately. I think I've watched his documentary too many times, and it's really good on Netflix. I'm not your guru, because I think he's brilliant. I'm just studying, like, how does he do that? Like, I don't even want to go to Tony Robbins, even though I probably should. I just want to be Tony Robbins. Like, how does he do that?
Well, I think to piggyback on Tony Robbins, I'm also a big fan, and it's success without fulfillment is the ultimate failure. And so
I forgot that one. Success without fulfillment is the ultimate failure. You better write that down, Isaac, because we got to put it on the post.
Yeah, I mean, I think that has also been something that I've repeated over and over in my head, and I've come to see that as being true too. You can sell the houses, you can hit the goals, you can have the numbers, but if you don't have personal fulfillment, empty, and then you're always just chasing that next number, back to work. I don't want to be busy for the sake of being busy anymore. And I have made that mistake. I want to be.
Well, I think busy can be an addiction. There can be an addiction to, if I'm busy, it distracts me from things I don't want to think about. If I'm busy, it makes me feel productive even if I'm not. If I'm busy and I'm not successful, at least I worked hard and it wasn't my fault. Now I'm a victim. Or I can feel better about my failure. It's things like that. So tell us, 2013, I bet everybody's thinking, okay, Jere, great, mindset's fabulous, but give us some meat. Give us some, which meat is in mindset. But what were the actions that you took? You went from a different mindset and different actions. You went to a mindset of gratitude and abundance, being positive, aligning with the right people, from your husband to the other people in your environment. Elaborate on that too, if there's anything relevant to you are who you're around, and that probably shifted your mindset, and the actions that you took that got you on the right path.
Yep. So mindset's definitely number one. I would say number two is having a system. So I think everyone also wants it to be very fabulous and very $1 million listing and, out to dinner every night. And I think it's working a system that's very, very simple. I think I fashioned it, around ninja selling quite a bit. So your ninja nines, your no matter what's. Personal.
I heard about ninja for since it started, and I haven't done it. Ninja, and I haven't heard ninja nines yet. That's awesome. What are the ninja nines?
I'm not gonna be able to get all 9 of them. I knew you were gonna ask me that when I said that. Gratitudes. You start with your gratitudes.
All right, Isaac, Google it so we can pull it. Okay, so number one, or is it gratitude?
Gratitudes. I mean, they're very basic things, such as making your calls to your past clients, personal notes to clients. We do RPRs, which are property, real estate reviews. So those go out weekly. It's the no matter what. It's staying in flow. I say stay in flow.
The no matter what and stay in flow.
Stay in flow.
The no matter what. I love that. The no matter what and stay in flow. Oh, that's awesome. And that is such a good place to be. It's like staying in the zone and not getting yourself, I think so many of us real estate agents have shiny object syndrome. That's why
Mhm.
we're realtors, because we see the opportunity and we're excited and we like to be out and about. I've worked in an
Right.
office and I was like, I may as well have been in prison. It was so pitiful. I would like look out of the window and I can remember like yesterday going, I could be out, the world is like going by and I'm in this little room being told what to do. I can't do this. I
Yeah.
will go be homeless before I can sit in this beautiful little office anymore
Right.
and be comfortable.
Right.
This is too comfortable. Anyway, but the Ninja Nines, so gratitude. So what are they? Is it gratitude calls, client notes, or
Yes. Real estate reviews. Is he reading them for you?
I don't know.
Let me, pulling it up.
He's got it. He's pulling it up. Isaac's going to get it out there for us.
I have it right here if I need to. We do our calls, we do our notes, we do our lunches, coffees. We have our events that are planned for the week.
Oh, that's awesome. And you do, so are you on kind of a weekly schedule? Like every week, this is what we're going to.
So the overall is like have a program, have your system and follow it and make it your no matter what it is. And people want it to be very romantic, like I said, and very complicated. And I think right now, especially in real estate, we're like bombarded with, are you doing this? Are you doing that? It's social media. There's so many things. Start with the basics and build out from there and be consistent.
Yeah, exactly. Where do you think, since before I go to the next question, I want to get down and help everybody, because everybody's probably still trying to figure out exactly what those actions are. Tell me what a day in the life of Jessica Northrop looks like.
Do we want to, so we can show this. Here's my little seed.
Oh, it's beautiful. It's so glamorous. Which is your whole point, right?
My whole point, it's not. It's all crumbled up and I doodle on it and whatnot. But,
so what is that? Tell us about that.
This is, so I kind of take a little bit from Ninja and then Greatness Tracker, which is the core training, and bring it all to Greatness Tracker. And it just goes to your, face-to-face meetings with clients. Did you have a coffee? Did you have a lunch? It's the tracking of that, of what your goals are. So 15 face-to-face, 5 times you're going to break bread with someone or have a coffee with them. You're going to have 60 great phone calls that week with past clients.
This is the Greatness Tracker?
The Greatness Tracker.
Wow.
This is awesome.
It'll make you a lot of money.
I love it. Yeah.
We'll go to events. We'll go to 1 to 2 events. We'll post on social media, a certain amount of times. Thank you notes. Thank you notes. I cannot say enough about a personal note. I cannot. And the effectiveness of it and the response that we get from personal notes every single week. People take pictures of it. Thank you so much.
And post it on social media too.
It's the easiest thing you can do, and it's the most impactful.
You're so right, and so inexpensive, and it doesn't take that long. What? How many notes do you do?
We do 10. At least I do 10, and my assistant does 10. So
that's smart.
She does 20. Let me revise that. She does 20.
Does she do 20? Does she do your 10 and her 10?
Yeah. Yes. But I tell her what to do. My handwriting is not so good. Let's be honest.
Mine's not either. I'm almost embarrassed when I send a hand note that's not for me because it's so pretty. And I'm like, if they get to know me and they keep that hand note and see me writing something down, they're going to know that wasn't me. It's going to.
Let's just delete this part of the whole.
Yeah. So bad. Anyway.
Yes.
It is what it is. I guess I'm going to have to start writing my own hand notes now that I've given away too many of my secrets. I love it. So Greatness Tracker and Ninja, the Ninja 9, which, Isaac, did you find that?
I wasn't able to find it.
Do you have the Ninja? I want to know the Ninja 9.
I kind of incorporated it all into this tracker, so I don't have exactly. So I don't.
Would you send us a picture of it?
I will send it to you. It's on a little poster card that's gold, so you can just have it. It's right in my office, which I'm not in my office right now, but I can send that to you.
Okay, but what the little thing you've got there, is that the Greatness Tracker?
Yes, that's my own. So I mean, like I said, I love everyone's ideas, but I think you have to make it your own and what works for you.
I love it. So I love how you keep saying, and I think that's important because there's everybody's like, don't reinvent the wheel. Do it, go find a successful person and do it the way they did it. And on the flip side of that, I think the real point is there are principles in life and business that survive time and people and personalities. But on the flip side of that, we all have our strengths. Focus on our strengths. One of the principles of Compass, but focus on your strengths and create something that's going to leverage your strengths, which I think is the value of figure out what works for you and do it. Because everybody says that listens to this podcast are like, Jere, the thing I find most fascinating is all of your guests are so different. Everybody, the thing they have in common is that they're utilizing the best version of themselves and focusing on their strengths to do business, not some trick on stalking people or not stalking people or whatever, but on what they're good at, and they're harnessing it and they're owning who they are, which grows their business. There's a better way to say that, but
yep. And I think another very simple concept is just the golden rule, and treat others the way you expect to be treated. I must have very high expectations because I always been. Someone who's works with me, they'll say, well, what should you do? Well, what would you want? Would you want them to call and tell you? Would you want to be up to date? So I think treating people how you want to be treated. And I think we try to elevate it from there. My saying, which everyone hates, and I'll probably get hate mail for this, but over promise and over deliver.
Yeah.
That makes you different. We do over promise and then take it one step up from there. And that's how we become different. That's how I become a little bit different, I hope, and really built that referral business, starting from that little $6.5 million to where it was repeat, refer, because you do a very, very good job.
Exactly. And I love what you just said, because we're always, everybody's first, there's this, everybody's thinking pitches, and then it's like, okay, yes, but you've got to ask the right questions. But what you just said was, not only do you ask the right questions of your clients, but ask the right questions of yourself. And I have to say, I remember I got that from Tony Robbins 10 years ago, but it's a good one. I just remembered it again just now. Epiphany with you on the podcast. But really, like you just said, when I'm dealing with a client and figuring out what to do, just ask myself, what would I want?
Right.
What would, if I were in their shoes, empathize, what would I expect? What would I want? What would I want? What are their fears? What are they worried about? What do they need? What would I want? Love that. And that's a great guide to do business by. So what, in your business, what gives you the most drive and passion, and what are you most excited about and proud of? Past, present, or future?
I know. Well, I'm most proud about being an ambassador for Give Back Homes. I really am. My best days are the days that I write checks to Give Back Homes. Right now, I'm getting the chills. Those are the days that I get the chills. Those are the days that I'm excited. You're making a difference in somebody's forever. And that's passion, and that's what drives me.
And Give Back Homes is awesome. Give Back Homes, they're so real. They're on the ground. They're doing it. They're giving to other agents. They align with us. They get our industry, and they give us the opportunity as we work every day to help people find the foundation of their lives. They're empowering us to do the same thing for people who aren't even our clients and who couldn't have a home otherwise. It's amazing. And I love that you're, give to something that people are always like, well, where can I find my clients? But you're also giving to something that is aligned with what you're doing, and you're giving to something that you are passionate. Like Andy Stanley, he's a famous speaker / he's actually a minister in Atlanta, but he's the greatest speaker you've ever seen. But he says, if you're going to find something you give to, don't just find how you figure out what to give to is, like you just said, it gives me chills, it brings me to tears. Like, what moves you? What brings you to tears? That's where to focus and put it. That's awesome.
Yeah, thank you.
What is your biggest struggle, or has been your biggest struggle, and how do you or have you overcome it, or answer both of those?
It's a tough question. I think my biggest struggle right now is time management. That's tough to get everything.
Everybody's,
day. So I think
because the problem is we have to sleep.
There's that, and I do like my
it's
sleep.
Ridiculous, right?
Sleep. Time management, I think that's just for me, that's an ongoing focus to become better at. That's why I really need, a tracking system. I need to do the hard things in the morning. I need to do the no matter what. I kind of have to say that, the no matter what. So
I am using that, the no matter what. Love that.
No matter what.
Yeah.
Larry Kendall. So let's give credit.
Wait, who is it? Gary?
Larry Kendall. Ninja selling is Larry Kendall.
Larry Kendall. Ninja selling, Larry Kendall. I got to do this ninja selling. The no matter what's.
Yes.
Awesome. So back to the question though, like, so your biggest struggle is time management, and the solution is continue to focus, discipline, consistency, do your no matter what's. Do you have any story that you can give us in this business? I have so many, but I'm not being interviewed today. Somebody's going to interview me eventually because I'm starting to interview myself on this show.
I'll interview you.
What's that?
I'll interview you.
We could have like every guest interviews me, and then I could be in like 100. Right now, it'd be 100. I can't even remember 120 interviews, 115 interviews. But what is an example that you could share with us of something that was a I'm going to quote Robert Refkin again. I do this a lot because this is one of my favorite quotes by him, and he doesn't really say it a lot. I learned it from his chief of staff, Netta, was laughing with me. I was talking about, I always say it's not happening to me, it's happening for me. And she laughed and said, Robert's favorite quote is, never let a good crisis go wasted.
Okay.
Do you take us back to the day? If it's like 2013 or after when you really relaunched your career, that'd be awesome.
Like a crisis, or what are we asking?
Or anything. Like, just give us a problem, a deal. Like, I'll give you one. You get phone calls from clients, right? And they're furious and they're calling you and they're losing it because everybody's writing a story in their own head. Right. Our sellers especially. They're writing stories in their head about what's going wrong, why it hasn't sold, and it's been on the market for 3 days. And they're already worried because that's what they sometimes do, depending on the seller. And they get on the phone and they're going to yell and they're going to scream. But taking that, you've got situations where people would take that call, get scared, get defensive, avoid it, get angry, think about how our clients are terrible and don't appreciate us, or they would go, you know what, this person is doing this because they trust me. They're yelling at me and they're being to what is clearly seems irrational, the same way a kid runs to mom crying when they fall down.
Right.
And this is an opportunity for me to take this conversation, read Never Split the Difference, and utilize what I learned from that book.
Right.
To level with people, help them diffuse their emotions, help assess the situation, this is the other thing. This is an opportunity to bring out the black swan of what might have happened in the future that I didn't foresee because they trusted me enough to call me. And now I cultivate this relationship from what other agents might have called an unreasonable client to help educate them, help serve them, help give them peace, help make the deal happen and a really great deal, and make them a great client and a great friend who then refers me business and flourishes and cultivates more business for me. That kind of thing. Except I'm interviewing myself.
Like 10 stories now.
Wait, say that again.
So I have 10 stories now that you
awesome. So give me your best or one of your favorites.
One that comes to mind, is people do come to us for referrals, for contractors, for whatever it may be. And I had a client, this is the first home I had sold them, and they needed to have their sprinkler system blown out. And she was a single mom. And I sent her, they're the best. They're on my, they're the greatest. And went to her house and winterized her sprinkler system while she was at work. And then when she came home from work and she had a business trip the next morning, she opened her door and water came flooding out off her whole main level.
Oh my God.
So she did call me, and of course it's not a great, because now they're mine, they're my contractors, and it's my issue. And I think, we all can run away from those type of situations.
Yeah.
We can be, it's not going to go well. Become a problem solver. I think that one of my greatest strengths is being resourceful and being a problem solver. And because I stayed with her during that, I helped her with that. I worked through the process of having everything repaired and insurance, and didn't run and hide, and, had empathy for what happened.
Yeah.
She's been a great client ever since. So, probably sold her another 4 homes. She refers me to people. She trusts me. She knows when the going gets tough that she can call me.
She can try. I mean, that problem that looked like a crisis, even a potential lawsuit, or even like her telling everybody how awful you are, turned into a lifelong client of lifelong referrals. And again, you said like an unfulfilled success is failure, and it's fulfilling to help people on that level. That's a great story.
And I think the only other two things I can think of that I've learned over the years when it comes to, people screaming, people being upset, people calling you, trying to blame, is listen and ask why. And I used to be interrupt. Sometimes they just have to talk and vent. And then after, 2 minutes, they'll sigh and say, okay, well, I mean, I know it's not your fault. And then they start to work it out. So they just need you to listen, understand, and help them solve the problem.
Exactly.
On the side. And then I think on the equally important is on the co-op side, agents working together and trying to get a transaction to the finish line. I think early career, combative, a little bit on edge, scarcity, like not so good. I remember specifically talking to an older agent gentleman and maybe getting a little snippy. It was probably him, not me, but getting a little snippy. And he stopped and he gave it a second. He said, you know what co-op stands for? Stands for cooperation. But he said very nicely, it stands for cooperation. And I'm here to work with you on this transaction and let's get it done. And so I've always, since that moment, and that's probably been years ago, I've always thought that when people are getting a little snippy we're there to put the deal together. Let's take a deep breath and find a solution together.
That's awesome. I love that. I think about in that too, and for us to remember as agents, when you go to your doctor and you're not doing well and they're, they sit down and here's what I'll say for us real estate agents, just to put things into perspective. Think about like if you went to the doctor and they're like, oh my God, like I cannot believe the new heart I just gave you is such a piece of shit. This company, this is ridiculous. These people are idiots. And a lot of times, like I've been in situations with agents where we've done this deal, we have some, like especially like in new construction, for example, we get some bumps in the road and you get an agent on the other end, like losing their mind to their clients about how wrong things are going, and you're like that's not like we need to come back and find the solution and work together. And I say that I'm perfect. I'm not guilty of that ever. I'm kidding. But it's just something like it. Like I've had experiences where that was going on, and I thought, we've got to remember that this is for us. Sometimes we forget, like. We do a lot of these a year, or even if we don't, and it gets scary because we don't. But this is their home. This is like the foundation of their whole world, the same way like your body is your temple kind of thing. And to freak out about it ever is not going to make you look better because you're mad and you're attacking the agent or the person on the other side of the deal. Because like when you come to the doctor, you're at the doctor and you had a surgery and it didn't go right. The doctor doesn't need to freak out. They need to say, okay, this is not unusual. Sometimes this happens. This is the solution. These are our options. How are we going to proceed? And always thinking in that way, back to what we're talking about on this, is problems or crises they need to become opportunities. That is where we come to the table. I quoted this already recently, but Tony Robbins, what does he say? No, in his I'm Not Your Guru, your biggest problem is you think you shouldn't have problems.
Right. That's true. Yep, I know that. Yep.
Right, like I love that. I watched that. I don't need to go to a Tony Robbins event. I've watched his documentary. But anyway, back to that is just remembering that and remembering problems are normal, or we wouldn't have a job and be valuable. I think I say that all the time on every show. But yeah, exactly. So now I want to ask you. And now I'm going to do my final 3, unless there's anything else we should tap into and pull out of you while we have you on the show that we've missed.
I think we're good. I mean, you tell me where you want to go with it. I'll answer whatever you ask, almost everything. What
is the book that you would most recommend or that's most impacted your life/career?
Never Split the Difference.
Seriously?
No, I know, I'm just saying.
Because you've only read it once.
Mine is very boring. I've been trying to I need to have a more creative answer, but I like just the basic books that you can always go back to and always get something out of. 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. I mean,
Yeah.
that little simple books like that. I still love Millionaire Real Estate Agent, the red book that flaps in the wind,
Yeah.
from Larry. So I can go back to the most simple books and always get something out.
I like the Gary Keller book for me, Millionaire, whatever, Real Estate Agent. I love The One Thing.
Pardon?
The One Thing. I think it's a book. I think it might be his most recent.
Huh?
But anyway, for whatever it's worth. But 7 Habits of Highly Successful People.
Yes.
Never split the difference. That's fine. That's just because you haven't read it enough.
I'm just putting a plug in for you.
I know. I like that. This is one of the secrets of your success is you're thinking about not just what I love that. I love this show for that, to show that to everybody and share it. What is the one tool or action that you have implemented and found most effective and impactful in your business?
Oh, geez. I would say, honestly, I really do go back to giving back and finding what I'm passionate about, which is giving back and building my business around that and creating community. I think a lot of people want to be involved, want to give back and don't know how. And so being able to build my business around that and share that with others has been really impactful and meaningful to me and the growth of my business.
That's awesome. I always talk about in your business, you need to have that one passion or focal point that you cultivate everything off of. And for you, it's giving back and give back homes because it aligns with your values and the reciprocity and the community and the culture, and also gives you a position of kind of in what is the word? Insinuated or implied authority in the business as a person that holds that position. That's awesome. This is our last question. What is the one thing that you would hope if I and everybody listening was only going to remember one thing from this conversation / interview, what would that be?
I'd go back to that success without fulfillment is the ultimate failure. So find what's going to fulfill you. Again, we can go back and have every single system. You can have any success, but if you're not personally fulfilled and you're not leaving a legacy, I think that is the ultimate failure.
Awesome. I don't even want to say anything else because that's like mic drop. That was awesome. Thank you, Jessica, so much for being on the show. It was awesome to see you.
You too.